When a situation where you find that a person look like this,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that.
Yes, the Daily is on daybreak this morning, and we have the general editor of Daily Trust newspaper, Hamza Idris, in the studio to review some of the major stories with us. Welcome again.
Good morning.
Let's begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Here we have some of the stories. The first one you could, at a side on the front page, you could see is Daily Trust launches Trust Plus, special invitation to our esteemed readers. Would look at all of that holistically later on the show. We have Senate to Buhari, declare bandits as terrorists. You have the writers there saying bomb all their locations. Decision long overdue. That's according to ex-DIG. Policemen missing as bandits abduct 27 in Sokoto community. You'll also find the pictorial there showing you EU, UK, FBI, others support EFCC strategic plan. And the picture there is showing you the chairman of the EFCC alongside other partners there. Beside the pictorial, recruitments into security agencies politicized. That's according to the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum. You'd also have outrage over killing of Akunyili's widower, 7 others in Anambra. Very, very sad scene there. From what we gathered, he was murdered, in cold blood. And it's quite pathetic that you have someone who is husband to a person who is recognized as someone who has made sacrifice for Nigeria killed in that manner. We pray that the family will find comfort. Below that, you would see also El-Rufai to southern governors. You can't get presidency by force. These are some of the stories. And there you have it below that. Trust TV on channel 164. That's the channel you're watching right now. We're on air. You can advertise your products there. Below that, you would see Jonathan ask National Assembly to adopt e-transmission of results. These are some of the major stories on the Daily Trust this morning. And like I told you, we have the general editor, Daily Trust newspaper, Hamza Idris. Now, let's take a look at some of these major stories. The lead story here is talking about Senate asking the president to declare bandits as terrorists, as if they weren't.
It's a clarion call. It's not really binding on the president to accept, or you understand, but it's a clarion call, and I think the Senate spoke the mind of Nigerians, including this newspaper, because a few weeks ago we ran an editorial where we said the president, and by extension the federal government, should call them, let's call them by their names, because they are arsonists, they kill, they maim, they destroy, they make life so uncomfortable for everyone. In the last couple of years, almost every story that comes out, especially from the Northwest, is about killings.
But of what difference is it really? The name, whether it's called bandit or whether it's called terrorist. What is important is that the security forces should do the needful in terms of protecting the lives of Nigerians.
Yes, you see, sometimes the designation is very important. If you look at it, even the global response, you understand, if you designate something appropriately, the attention it will get, both locally and internationally, will be different. Before Boko Haram was declared a terrorist organization, some will just say they are ragtag. They are ragtag. And some were even questioning why the military was deployed, especially after the declaration of state of emergency. But later, when it was declared a terrorist organization, the response, even in terms of humanitarian response, was more visible. So the expectation, especially based on what people told us while putting together this story, is that the federal government should change the approach in terms of deployment, in terms of response, and then in terms of even dealing with the miscreants.
But, I mean, Boko Haram, for instance, have been designated a terrorist organization for as long as I can remember, but it doesn't seem like, we're still fighting the insurgents in the Northeast. So, but
we have made significant progress. For sure, anyone you ask, if he's passionate about Nigeria, he will tell you that the Boko Haram of 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, is not the same as what we have now. Of course, we still have challenges in the Northeast, but not, the magnitude that we had it, before. And I strongly believe it is because of the change in approach. Sometimes people don't really appreciate success story until when it is over.
So if you look at this point of branding the bandits as terrorists, will it make as much difference if we still talk about our military forces being overstretched, and we'll still talk about manpower in the security force being still not adequate and all of that? We still talk about ungoverned spaces and all of that.
That is it. And that is the call every other person is making, including us, that look, after declaring them terrorists, mobilize more resources, whatever it takes. Nigeria took care of other countries' troubles before. You just mentioned it, the issue of the United Nations, the coalitions, and all that. We did a lot, and it is there. So the federal government this time around should also mobilize enough assets, air assets, ground troops, intelligence gathering, so that the bandits will be tackled out.
All right, talking about mobilizing security forces, we have the governor of Borno State here. He's concerned that the recruitment into security agencies is being politicized. Maybe you give us an idea. What does this actually mean?
You see, the man speaks his mind, and sometimes, out of frustration, you see him voicing out some of the challenges facing Nigeria in general. He's from Borno, the worst hit by the insurgency since 2009. Now, there was time here during one of the reviews, I personally made mention of the recruitment process into our armed forces and then sister agencies. It is not good. Why am I saying this? You see young Nigerians who are willing to serve Nigeria. Graduates, some who just finished secondary school, who are willing to be recruited into the police, into the civil defense, into the defense academy. But they just can't have access. You can see we said we have manpower shortages. But still, people are willing to join, but you must know somebody. This is not a mere allegation, because go and get of course, the agencies, they publish the names of the people they recruit, but who are they?
Do you think that this is probably part of the reasons why we, see the low morale, and the lack of will by some of the security agents to follow through?
Take the NDA, for instance, or the police colleges, or the police academy in Kano. just go and check or take the roll call of those recruited. They are children of senators, members of House of Reps, members of State Assembly, emirs, governors, former head of states. You understand? They are children, they are wards or children of those very close to them. They get notes and then they are recruited. And they get into these services not because they want to serve, but for status symbol. That is where the problem lies. Most of those who join, especially the higher cadre, they join the services for status symbol. So by the time you ask the son of a certain emir who is a second lieutenant, or you ask him to go to Borno, or you station him at Borno Ngwari, you will receive call. You, the postmaster. You understand?
So
you will receive some call.
Who is responsible for regulating this? Who is supposed to make sure that recruitments are done based on merits and based on, the potentials of, the candidates?
For every establishment, you have the secretariat there that is charged with responsibilities. And sometimes I don't really blame them because they are under pressure. What do you do, Mr. Ayuba, when you receive a call or a text message or a letter on a letter-headed paper from a governor? Sometimes, in fact, they send the list to them that, okay, for Bauchi or for Katsina or for Benue, these are our preferred candidates. So what options do you have? You, the recruitment officer.
What's the way out of this?
Patriotism. Patriotism. Those who God has blessed and they are in position of authority, they should look at Nigeria first before personal interests. Yes.
Another story that got my attention is the killing of the, widower of the late Dora Akunyili in the southeast, Anambra State to be specific. It's so sad, isn't it?
Honestly, I shed tears when I saw a video clip. The man gasping for breathing, for air. When he was forcibly, ejected from his vehicle and then shot at close range. I was devastated yesterday. And this is how low we become. It's not even about the late wife. He too, was an authority.
But what could have been the reason behind this?
You see, accusations and counter-accusations. The first line of the accusation was pointed at IPOB. For a very long time, they have been killing people in the southwest. Almost every other person, they kill the civilians, they kill the military, they kill politicians, irrespective of political leaning. This is the trouble. And I remember we, the Daily Trust, we suffered the brunt at the beginning because of experience. We've been calling them out. But one of the regulatory agencies even wrote to us that why are we calling them IPOB? They are unknown gunmen. Now this is where it has landed us. Nobody will come from the hell or heaven, just come and kill. You have to, flag it too.
And it appears that it's almost like a similar case that we experienced in the Northeast when Boko Haram insurgency started at the initial, when high-profile politicians and government officials are targeted. Yes,
you see, IPOB, just like the call now for bandits to be designated as terrorists, since last year, the group has been designated as a terrorist organization. But up to now, they issue press statements every day. And our security agencies, they know where the leaders are. Of course, they have arrested Kanu, the overall leader. But all his foot soldiers are there.
Still
And
brings
they
us
are-
back to the issue of the significance of designating them terrorist group. I mean, if further actions will not be taken.
Yes,
It's
so
not much
that
of
is why we are now noticing this carelessness in the southeast. They are killing people. They said there will be no election in Anambra. And then yesterday they issued a statement that they were not responsible. Who is responsible for the killing of this innocent man?
All right, then. Let's take a look at other papers this morning on the show. We'll take a look at The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper at the very top there, of course, is the usual editorial of the paper. Federalism is the answer. There's been about 49 editions of that article or that piece. You also have below the nameplate there, the lead story says, judges in South Africa, Ghana, earn 3 times higher than Nigerian colleagues. You'd find the writer there saying Nigeria's judicial officers among least paid globally. AFBA document. Appeal court president's salary equivalent to that of research fellow at NLDs. You'd see also qualified legal practitioners no longer find the bench attractive, says Adeburua. You'd find bar must speak out for them, Uwefu. Salary may be poor. Allowances make it up. That's King Lade saying that. You'd see also beside the pictorial by the left of the paper, declare bandits as terrorists, Senate tells Buhari. Those are the major stories there. Of course, at the very bottom, you have Oyo seeks to join Rivers VAT suit against FG. World leaders pledge $1.1 billion to tackle COVID-19, poverty, climate change. UK ballistic expert sheds light on Lekki tollgate shootings. You'd also find beside that, Akunyili's killers will face double judgment, says Buhari. How nepotism, injustice in Buhari's administration fueled insecurity by Wike. Still, we have these allegations, accusations, and counter-accusations. Almost like a daily thing on our papers, isn't it? Now, the conversation about the remuneration for judges, a comparison has been made now between our own judges and others in other African countries, South Africa and Ghana. But other people are arguing that the allowances make up for the salaries.
For me, there is no basis for comparison in the first place, because in Nigeria we are still struggling to define minimum wage and whether it is really minimum. Up till now, some states can't afford to pay the 30,000 minimum wage. Some, even at 18,000 naira, they owe workers, including the judicial workers, billions of naira in arrears. So it's a systemic problem in Nigeria. That is why I don't want to narrow it down to judges, because judges don't operate in isolation. They are part of the system. The judiciary is also part of the system. We have the executive, we have the legislature. You understand? So it's a serious problem, and we just have to wake up from our sleep, because now even those who are earning well, especially those who are working in government agencies and some private organizations, you see them crying. Somebody's salary cannot last for 1 week, and you call it salary? And that is why corruption is almost everywhere. People struggle to live. I'm telling you, an average Nigerian detests corruption, and he frowns at it. But what do? Sometimes you collect the salary, and then in less than 1 week it is gone. You have many mouths to feed, to pay school fees, to attend to, health, and all that. So it's a serious problem, and Nigeria must work hard to address some of these things. Specifically for the judges, you need them. We need the judiciary to get it right.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's scan through some of the papers we have as well. The Punch and the Nation newspaper. The lead story here talks about FG revokes 5,793 mining licenses in 6 years. Operators blame insecurity. The writer there says revoked licenses not used. Operators failed to start mining, says ministry official. Miners shunning mining sites because of kidnappers, insurgents. That's according to the association. And on the Nation newspaper also, you have a few stories there as well. Of course, not much of a difference from what we've seen from the other papers. The lead story says, El-Rufai notes governors not against power shift in 2023. You'd also see, we abhor the language of South governors. Politics is about negotiation, horse tackling. Well, this appears more like a contradiction, again, of the initial statements that we have seen. Isn't that the point?
You're talking about power rotation?
Yes.
We'll continue having all this until 2023. For El-Rufai, yesterday, it's like he emphasized what the northern governors agreed on. You understand? What he said was, you can't get it by force. You can't get it by force. It's about negotiation. It's about mutual respect, and it's about what you will bring to the table. So I think generally the politicians, they will continue to talk on this, and the North and the South, definitely the politicians will not just agree to, just hand over power on a platter of gold. Because, of course, you are going to have just one president. But it is beyond that. There are many other positions. So, okay, the vice president, okay, when we get it, the allocation and distribution of other positions and all that. But ultimately, Nigerians should be allowed to vote, because you can't even have a new president in an atmosphere of acrimony. We need to save Nigeria first before talking about who should be the Nigerian president. And I hope before 2023, we should be able to resolve most of the challenges afflicting the country. Almost all the 6 geopolitical zones, they have their unique security challenge.
All right, Hamza Idris, General Editor, Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you for joining us this morning and sharing your thoughts with us on some of the stories that made the headlines.
Thank you very much.